Ta-da! It's the new Xperia 1 Mark V. There we are. It's a nice recycled material.
Paper phone.
Yeah, it's inside. Only checking.
Oh.
It's an interesting feeling back. It's textured.
It's a tactile feeling surface filled with tiny little micro nodules. The back is surprisingly made out of hardened frosted glass, surprisingly because it feels and looks like plastic. And that texture makes it feel a lot more secure in the hands, especially compared to your standard slippery iPhone.
Ooh, look at that. Oh, dirty screen.
Photo Pro.
Photo Pro. Photo Pro. So you've got this lovely layout which looks kind of like your alpha camera, and if you're not alpha shooter then it looks really pro-like.
The Photo Pro app looks like a Sony camera interface, even down to the features such as D-Range Optimizer and Auto HDR settings.
Hey, I thought they changed it. I thought they changed it so that it will change. Oh yeah, hang on.
I think it happened to other Sony phone. Some other Sony phone, if not all. Oh, is it because the shutter button is on that side?
Yeah. So I guess it kind of forces you to do it like that, or at least it does turn the interface for vertical shooting. Pretty much it's very similar to before, but they have upgraded the main camera. It's still got ultra wide, and the main one is 24mm equivalent. So it's got a 1.5 times, no, it's got 1.7 times larger sensor size, stacked CMOS with 2-layer transistor? Is that right? Transistor pixel. 2 times better in low light shooting compared with Xperia 1 Mark IV, which I just remembered. Just remember those specs.
Basically, photodiode bits are separate to transistor bits to make it 2 times better than the 4 in low light, with less noise.
Useful today.
Yeah.
In low light, the colours still look great, no harsh softening going on despite the noise being kept quite low. My iPhone 13 Pro in comparison looks a little rougher and there's a bit of loss in saturation. Of course the iPhone 14 might be a better comparison, but I don't have one of those. In good light, both main cameras look fine, just a difference in colour, and the iPhone is a bit heavier on the extra dynamic range that sometimes makes those shadow details look a bit unreal.
Oh, that guy though.
Apple made their iPhone 14 Pro's main camera wide at 24mm, following Xperia, which had a 24mm main camera for quite some time, and you still have it here with the 1 Mark V. It's great in tight spaces, but sometimes it feels like you have to get quite a bit closer to get a shot. As with the previous gen, there's a big gap between the 24mm main cam and the widest end of the optical telezoom at 85mm, but the quality of the main cam means the 2x zoom in between is not too much of a quality compromise. Even a 10x zoom looks alright. Only at the furthest reach of the digital zoom do you see a noticeable drop off in image quality. It's a decent setup for stills.
It's not even coronation. If I wasn't such a hardcore Apple fanboy, then oh no, look at that, oh no.
Lassie go home? Well, Lassie is melting all over the floor.
That's sliding, this slide. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I think I quite like Sony phones, especially as something quite, Sony-like. It's not particularly stylish or anything, but there's a certain functional coolness about it, isn't it?
Its grippy exterior works well in the hand for taking photos, and the stealthy aesthetics is made cooler by the fact that it's been crammed with tech to impress tech heads. The screen is 21:9 4K HDR with 120Hz refresh rate and easy to see in bright sunlight. There's a proper earphone socket too, and there's other stuff too. The ability to use the Xperia 1 V as a monitor for alpha cameras is a killer feature. It connects via USB-C, is a doddle to set up, and you can record footage, 4K, 8-bit 422, and use that same app to live stream. But more importantly, as is a Sony, you expect it to focus like a Sony, and it does.
There we are. Yeah. Cool, man. That's totally rad. Whoa. I mean, the great thing is that everything looks Sony. It is a Sony, but you know what I mean? It looks like an alpha camera, so you kind of feel at home. Like all the focusing squares, it's all those little dancing green squares, but it's also got the face, real-time, whatever you call it. Everything's in focus anyway, but it's got it.
I mean, it's still a phone, so
yeah. I mean, you can get some shallow depth field like that
if it is that exaggerated.
If you stand right there.
Because I think there's something about testing a phone autofocusing is that quite deep depth of field, so it's kind of hard to has AF.
Yeah.
I think I never get autofocus photo from even my iPhone 4.
Well, mostly phones are going to be used for photos like this anyway. No chimping needed, it's in focus. But it's true what Locke says, with the deep depth of field 2, it's not really going to show the autofocus in a bad light. Still, the focus is quick and it picks up on faces without fault. It is worth noting that for stills you can take JPEGs or DNG RAW or a combination of both. Shooting RAW and then adjusting the highlight and shadows offers up seemingly as much dynamic range as Auto HDR and will look just as good as the highly computational iPhone photo. Like its predecessor, I think it's great for stills, but the video is where it really shines. It's just that you need to choose which of the free apps to use for your video taking.
Cinema Pro,
Cinema Pro.
powered by Cine Alta.
Cinematography
Yeah.
Pro.
Well, they can't fit it.
Long name.
So this is the one that looks like a cine camera, and therefore everything's going to be blown out like that. At first I thought, that's pretty cool, but when you change the frame rate and then it forces you to, I don't know, set up another project and etc. It's kind of a bit of a faff.
The Cinema Pro app is all posh and pro-like, so it makes you create a new project every time you want to change the frame rate. The shutter speed is in degrees. FYI, you can change shutter speed in the Video Pro app too, and that is the app I prefer to use for video. Although I thought the Cinema Pro app was cool before, I find it not as quick and convenient to use as the other two apps. And you know, when you're shooting with a phone, that really is what it should be all about, right?
Vision Pro! Yeah!
We have got the Vision Pro.
Still, one thing more annoying than that sound is the record button on the Xperia 1.5.
It's another year. Why have they still not made it clearer when it's recording and not recording? This record. Stop.
same time.
I don't understand why. In that time, less than 365 days, they have put a new sensor in to the main camera, and they can't fix that. With their alpha line, okay, they've got everything now. They've got a red light here, they've got a red square. Not even that, it's just that.
So I really can't tell, is it rolling?
Yes,
It is rolling,
it's rolling.
but it looks like just a normal record button.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Or is it like when you stop it? Eh? Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, could be better.
Could be much better.
It's not always easy to spot whether it's recording or not in bright sunlight, and if you're vlogging using the rear cameras and you hit a shutter button to record, you simply can't tell whether you've just started or stopped the recording.
Also, I mean, a lot of camera would be like when you roll, it's like doot, it stops it. Doot.
Well, I mean, let's not even talk about other cameras. Sony's actual alpha cameras.
Yeah,
When you start, it goes boop, and when you stop, it's drum.
yeah.
It's their own sounds. They don't have to go to a stock video or stock sound website to get the pay for the
invent a
sounds.
new one.
It's just, I don't know why.
They have those handycam have been using that for ages.
They've gone to all that effort to make the interface look similar. Why can't they make the sounds the same?
Oh, someone get lost by
Yes.
Google Maps.
Justin, where are you, Justin?
Justin Hong Kong dude we just bumped into, longtime fan and parking warden under the tree. Not Bieber. I'm not a believer. At least I wouldn't admit it in public.
Is he actually lost? He's backing up. He's going up. I thought he worked here or something, but he actually lost.
He wanted to do some donuts there.
Anyway, the Xperia 1.5 video.
Like the computational stuff. The shadows are quite somewhat contrasty in Sony there. I mean, I guess this is how it should be. On the iPhone, you've got all this kind of extra dynamic range. It's made for most people to look at and think, oh wow, but actually, if you think about digital sensors and sensor size, this is what it should look like from the Sony.
However, that is the bog standard Photo Pro app video color profile. There are more options for picture profiles.
This is the main camera with S-Cinetone off, and this is with it on. It's kind of weird that they put S-Cinetone in their phone, but not their ZV-12. Strange.
It's a nice touch to have S-Cinetone available. If you want something more cine-like on other phones, you'd have to resort to using third-party apps like Filmic to get more colour profiles. With Sony cameras, S-Cinetone is a colour profile you can use to get great looking footage without having to do any colour correction really. A little correction is needed with the Xperia 1.5's S-Cinetone footage, but very straightforward to fix. Anyway, to put things into perspective, here's how the Xperia 1.5 compares to an iPhone 13 Pro. For vlogging, the front-facing cam isn't great for low light, and on the rear, the ultra-wide looks a bit jittery at times because it doesn't have the hybrid image stabilization of the other two rear lenses. In low light, it's not fantastic too. The main camera looks pretty good though, although the auto white balance looks a little off. One cool feature, however, is that you can pause the recording and then start it again to stitch it together in one clip. Great for YouTube Shorts, Reels or TikTokers that don't want to edit.
So yeah, we are testing it kind of like you can pause and then it connect together in one clip.
That's a neat touch that could make this great for influencers or creators, even better than the ZV-1 II. So great, we went out on the street again and bumped into Justin again, probably trying to catch us out for standing too close to the double yellows.
I think you probably use the main camera for vlogging, 24mm. When we talked about ZV-1, the perfect vlogging camera, as I titled it, I think it's perfect because it's compact, it's small, it's lightweight. But no, actually this is probably the perfect vlogging camera because it's got everything there. It's connected to the internet.
Making it speedy for creating and publishing that content. Sounds good. And Sony has tried to make the 5 sound better too. There's a new voice priority mic and it's placed right between the rear lenses.
Okay, so just testing out the voice priority mic on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V.
Comparing it to the iPhone 13 Pro over there, seeing how it picks up my voice,
how it sounds, etc, etc. But there's not too much background noise here because I'm just stood next to a cupboard. Right, let's try that out. What happens if you're sitting here baking your ass off in 29-degree heat and you've got the fan on because you absolutely need it? Does it still pick up the voice all right? Does it? Does it? Well, let's listen for yourself, yeah? Okay, this is with the voice priority mic pointing towards me. The fan is on the other side of the phone, so it's blowing, but it's not into the mic, so hopefully it doesn't pick up the wind noise. How's that compared to the iPhone? Don't know, but hopefully it will just pick up my voice and not the wind noise, yeah? So if I set the mic to all directions, this is what it sounds like. It will probably pick up the traffic noise from all around, wind noise maybe, and a little bit my voice. The voice priority seems like the way to go for picking up my voice a bit better when it comes to vlogging, walking and talking. There's a lot of road noise all around me, so hopefully it picks up the voice quite well. But I find that the Sony mic doesn't sound quite as nice voices as the iPhone mic. Whereas any good for noise rejection is also very important, but sometimes it's just about the way it sounds. Whereas any good for noise rejection is also very important, but sometimes it's just about the way it sounds.
In my opinion, voices sound better with the iPhone, but the rejection of other sounds, traffic, wind, etc. is better on Sony's voice priority mic.
But the one improvement that Sony hasn't really made a big song and dance about, and they should have, is the heat management. Probably a lot to do with a more efficient processor. The camera power consumption is 20% better and the heat diffusion is 60% better. So you can record for a really long time. I tried it in 29 degrees C heat in the shade, 4K 25p, and it only cut out when there was no more power. Over 4 hours recording. Then I tried recording in 29 degrees C heat again, lasted for over 4 hours shooting 4K 60p and only stopped due to a low battery. It did overheat after 11 minutes using 4K 120 under direct sunlight, but I don't think many people will be shooting 4K 120 for such a long clip anyway.
It is quite outstanding for a smartphone to record for this long in the heat, especially when the previous one did overheat a lot quicker. It makes the Xperia 1.5 great for taking video, for social media people, for your holiday snaps and video and stuff. It's even a great accessory for your alpha camera. I don't think it needs the sharpening and a boosted dynamic range. I like that those have been kept low. It could do with some tweaks, record button sound, streamlining those apps, and some improvements. The shaky footage with the ultra-wide can be an issue when you want stable vlogging video, and auto white balance is a bit ugh. Perhaps they'll hopefully sort those out in the next Xperia 1 in less than a year. Otherwise, the Xperia 1.5 is a really good smartphone for photos and especially video. Almost excellent. Well, it's a huge shout out to Adorama, this channel's official affiliate partner. For all your photo gear needs, they have everything from cameras and lenses to lighting, computers and even gaming stuff. You can also check out the US pricing on his ZV-1 too because I don't have it. So please do click through in the links below to head on over to Adorama.
So brand new, we have got the Vision Pro. Look at that. It is the future. This is what everybody's going to be doing for the next year, watching porn mainly. It doesn't matter, we don't actually need to have the actual Vision Pro to review it because you're not going to see it anyway. It's just you explaining, oh, it's amazing.
Oh, this from a really big bird.
Yeah. Big Bird from Sesame Street. Just had a shiz all over the pavement. Yeah, I feel like some kind of fancy lifestyle advert where they take photos in such a wanky way. So they've got the photodiodes and transistors. Transistor? Is that a real word?
It is, but it sounds something not new. I mean, transistor radio is some innovative.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, isn't it?
Innovative
Transistor.
technology from the 70s.
The bridge over troubled water. All the water in the UK is troubled. Look how dirty it is. It's people peeing and throwing up in it on Friday night probably.